All right, everyone. I'm doing some walkthroughs of a daily event that I played on the weekend, just as a way to talk about, what I did right, what I did wrong, um, just ways to improve. So let's walk through my round one, game one. So I won the roll, and I chose to play first. So I'm just going to step through. So this is a hand that I kept. I kept Temple of Malady, Island, a couple of Thought Seizes, Hero's Downfall, Crux of Fate, and Ugin. So here's why I kept it. I kept it because of Temple of Malady. Temple of Malady, Scryland, even though I only have 2 lands and no Satyr Wayfinder, keeping this allows me to, sculpt at least one draw step, see what's on top, and hopefully get me another land. The other big reason why I kept it is the 2 Thought Seizes. So the way I figured is, typically in Standard there's no turn 1 play. So playing a Temple Malady tapped isn't going to hurt me too much. I can then go and Thought Seize on turn 2, hoping to grab anything that's too pressing. Whether it be Goblin Rabblemaster, Hordling Outburst with Stoke the Flames, or something to that effect. Having double Thoughtseize, it lets me go and grab the second threat if there is one. What I'm going to do is I'm also going to open up Notepad. And I'm just going to keep it here so that we can keep track of what I Thoughtseize. So I play my Temple. There's a Disdainful Stroke. I choose to scry that to the bottom. I choose to scry it to the bottom because I need a land. So I'm going to put it on play, go through his turn. So on my draw step, I draw Bile Blight. Not the best of draws, but go into my main phase. I go to Thoughtseize. And I didn't get everything there, but we'll see it again. Play my Island. He plays Sylvan Caryatid. Now, Sylvan Caryatid was not in that hand, so what we're going to see in a few seconds, because I Thoughtseize again. Is we see Genesis Hydra, Ugin, Whisperwood, Forest, and Nykthos. Okay, so he's way off getting out Ugin. So Ugin's definitely a no-go. Genesis Hydra, right now, he can Genesis Hydra for 3, 4, 5, so that's a 3 power Genesis Hydra. So I'm not too worried about that. So Whisperwood Elemental is the one that I take. Whisperwood Elemental for me is actually pretty hard to deal with. Even though I've got the spot removal, right now I'm only sitting at 2 lands. So I'm going to take that. And let's just play it out. So now, he's played a Temple of Abandon, which means his hand still stays static. We know as much as we need to know. So there's my 3rd land. I choose not to play anything here. I don't have much to play, and I can't play anything. So there's an Eidolon of Blossoms that I didn't know about. So he's still at 4 cards that I know. Yeah, I Murderous Cut there. The reason why I Murderous Cut there is with Eidolon of Blossoms, you can just start chaining draws, and that's something I don't need him getting ahead of me on draws. So he's going to tap out and he's going to play Polukranos. Again, that's another card I didn't know about. So we still know he has a Genesis Hydra, an Ugin, a Forest, and a Nykthos. what I'm trying to do here now is I'm trying to keep him off of devotion. So I'm trying to keep those double devotion, like Polukranos, like Eidolon of Blossoms, like Whisperwood Elemental. I'm trying to keep those off the table. So Polukranos is going to bite the dust. And I get to dig through time. The other benefit is, eventually when I get my second island, I'm going to be able to go and dig through time pretty quickly because I've got the Murderous Cut, I've got the Downfall. I've already eaten 2 Thoughtseizes. So here's the Genesis Hydra. Now, lucky for me, is only able to get the Elvish Mystic. And he gets a Genesis Hydra for 4. The Genesis Hydra for 4 sucks, but I can deal with it. And then I can turn around and deal with that. So now he gets another Polukranos, and that poses a tad of a problem. So with the second Polukranos, I am unable to deal with that right in my hand. Now I do have something like Dig Through Time, and I do have something like Treasure Cruise, but right now I'm not in the position to cast those. So here I draw Sultai Charm. So luckily I'm able to deal with it. Something to note, right now I've gone through 1, 2, 3, 4. This will be 5 single removal spells. So I run 4 Heroes Downfall, 4 Blights, and 1 Murderous Cut. So I've already run through 4, and then 3 Sultai Charms. So I'm running 4, 8, 9, 12, and this will already put me down 5. So again, Courser is one that I know about, and we're down to, he's gotten rid of the Forest, he's gotten rid of the Nykthos, and he's gotten rid of the Genesis Hydra. So I know that he's got Ugin in his hand, and there's not much he can do about it right now. So let's pop that up there. And lo and behold, there's my next land. So I'm going to go and I'm going to Treasure Cruise and play a Temple. I see a Dig Through Time. Now, next turn I'm going to Crux of Fate. So the Dig Through Time, I'm trying to remember what I did with the Dig Through Time here. The Dig Through Time, I put it on top. So now, this is important. I know now he has a Crater Claws and an Elvish Mystic, plus the Ugin. So here, I'm just going to crack, go down to 13, and now Crux of Fate. So now I know he's got Ugin, he's got an Elvish Mystic, and he's got a Crater's Claws. So now I've got 2 Ugins in hand. I got the Satyr Wayfinder, so I'll cast the Satyr Wayfinder. Grab the Opulent Palace. And I still know he's got 2 cards in hand. He's got an Ugin and he's got a Crater's Claws. So here I took the Kiora and I took the Temple. So I took the Kiora and I took the Temple. I want to be able to again sculpt, and I want to win condition. I mean, I've already got 2 Ugins, but I've got 3, 6. So I'm still a couple lands off of Ugin. So now I've got Thoughtseize. Okay, now here's where I think I made a critical error. So I Thoughtseize, and I took his Ugin. So I know he has a Crater's Claws. And I know he has an Ugin. The Ugin I can deal with my own Ugin, and I can deal with in Kiora. Actually, I can deal with him in Kiora and then Ugin, but I took the Ugin anyways. We'll see why this was a mistake. But in retrospect, you know, he's got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana available. Even if he does cast an Ugin, I've got to dig through time. I'm down 2 heroes downfalls, or 3 heroes downfalls, so I would need to dig for a 4th. But it's not to say that I couldn't deal with it. So there I put down Kiora, and I go after his Elvish Mystic. So again, you know, was that the right move? I think at the time that's the right move, given what I did. However, I should have gotten rid of the Crater's Claws, left the Kiora in my hand. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, so I can dig through time on my turn, or sorry, at the end of his turn, then drop Kiora, which he would then Ugin away, then I drop my Ugin, and I start blasting his. So, let's play. So here, he hits 8 lands. Instead of playing, or because he doesn't have Ugin, he now plays Crater's Claws for 7. Okay, knocking me down to 4. Now, typically that's not what I would worry about. So here I grab the Opulent Palace, I go for 1, I Kiora his Mystic. Now I don't know what he draws here. Okay, he's live off the top of his deck. And he Crater Claws me. So now I dig through time. What I'm looking for is I'm looking for a Disdainful Stroke. Now I know that I run 2 main and I put 1 to the bottom. Okay, so I'm gonna, that 31st card, somewhere between the 29th and 31st card is a Disdainful Stroke. So I've got to find 1 in my next 7. And I don't find 1, so I concede. So really, I think the mistake that I made there was taking the Ugin over the Crater Claws. I took the Ugin because it was a big splashy spell. I should have taken a little more time making that decision, and I should have taken the Crater's Claws, because even if he just has the 2 cards in hand and he still top decks a Crater's Claws, I'm not in a bad position. He plays the Ugin. I'm able to Kiora his Ugin, so his Ugin can't do any damage. He should then try to get rid of my Kiora, because my Kiora would be close to lethal. I then play my own Ugin. I get rid of his Ugin, would go down to from 7 to 3. I play my Ugin, I Ugin him out, and I'm in a much better position. So that's round 1. Or that's round 1, game 1. So unfortunately it doesn't have my sideboarding, but I think some of my sideboard cards come up anyway. So I get the choice to play first. Now, this hand I keep. Okay, here's why I keep this hand. Okay, I've got 2 lands, none of which come into play tap, so that's not necessarily a great thing, but I have Satyr Wayfinder. So Satyr Wayfinder, at worst case scenario, is going to put 4 cards into the graveyard. Best case scenario is going to net me a black land, which is going to fuel a Tasigur on turn 3, because I'll be able to go 1, 2, 3 with the land, 4, 5, 6, and Tasigur's in play. It also gives me access to Disdainful Stroke. So now I'm working with a memory of Whisperwood Elementals, Xenagos, Crater's Claws, Ugin, Genesis Hydra. So there's a lot there that I can counter with a Disdainful Stroke. Chances are I've also brought in some more Disdainful Strokes, so having that's definitely helpful. Obviously, having Crux of Fate in hand is good, but it's not of no real use to me right now. And having Dig Through Time is good. I'm not sure how good it is right now, but it's good to have. So go through the first few turns. I play my Yavimaya Coast. Again, not much happens on the first few turns in Standards. Now, I was kind of interested to see he played his Forest and didn't play anything else. So he didn't have a good turn 1 play. Here I go and I take the Scryland, I take the Temple of Malady. I take the Temple of Malady, it obviously helps sculpt my hand. I also did pick up an Urborg. Urborg doesn't help him out any. So on his second turn he plays 7 Caryatid. So there's my Urborg, and here's my Tasker. So now he gets to play his Courser, and I see Polukranos. So my turn. In comes my Temple. I see a Swamp. That one stays on top. I need the Swamp. I also Thoughtseize. So I see 2 Coursers, an Eidolon, and a Genesis Hydra. Now, I think this is where I misclicked. I think I end up taking Genesis Hydra, but I really want to take Eidolon. The Coursers, I'm not too concerned about. I'm not too concerned about how much life he gains, and actually, the more information he gives me, the better. The Genesis Hydra isn't something that I really care about. It's the Eidolon that I do. If I take the Eidolon, then these are just Coursers. If I don't take the Eidolon, then these are Coursers in card draw, so they replace themselves. So the card that I really want to take is Eidolon. I think I misclick and take Genesis Hydra. Yeah, so I misclicked and I took Genesis Hydra. So I don't attack, which may or may not have been a mistake. So he draws his Polukranos, plays his Eidolon. So that's, right away, it's causing me a problem. So here, I just draw land and say go. Here he plays a Courser. Or no, sorry, he triggers a Courser. And he plays a Courser. So he misplayed that. He probably should have gone Courser, land. So now I know he's got that Crater's Claws on top. So I do the Tasker thing. I flip over BioBlight. I flip over a Wayfinder. I get the Wayfinder back. Wayfinder back I'm not actually really hurting about. So here I go and I Crux of Fate. Now I know he's got Crater's Claws. I know he's got another Courser. So here's the other Courser. There's the Nykthos. And a Caryatid. So here I play the Swamp. Not really doing much. So I just pass through the turn. Now he's got an Ugin on top. Swings in for 2. And he plays Polukranos. which means I can Sultai Charm it. Oh no, did I Sultai Charm? Yeah, I Sultai Charmed it. So go through his attack step. And here's a Genesis Hydra, 5, which I Disdainful Stroke. Now, that may or may not have been a good idea. I don't know. Because I can still dig through time. Yeah, so I guess the Whisperwood Elemental. So I got an Ashiok and I got a Hero's Downfall. Again, it wasn't great, and I'm not even sure if I should have had Ashiok in here to begin with. I draw the Disdainful Stroke, so I know against Crater's Claws I'm pretty good. So there's the Ashiok. Now I know he's got 2 Crater's Claws. So there's the Crater's Claws, and here's the counter. When I'm down to 7, I'm in a pretty precarious position. And I know I've gone through 2 Disdainful Strokes. So I did manage to get a Caryatid and an Eidolon. And a dig. So I took Ugin, and I took a Hero's Downfall. Again, I didn't find the counter magic that I was looking for. There's my Satyr Wayfinder. Again, Sultai Charm, Bile-Blight, Hero's Downfall, okay. I got enough to fake counter magic here, but I'm kind of in a precarious position again. So I'm able to I can Crux of Fate here, but really, I'm so out of gas here. I grabbed the Eidolon just to try to draw that little piece of counter magic, and he Crater Claws me. So that's round 1. I really wish that I had my sideboard choices. Actually, I probably could have seen it when I fetched, but I probably brought in some Disdainful Strokes. Definitely Tassiger came in. I'm not sure if I should have kept in Ashiok. I'm not sure how useful he or she is in this matchup, but yeah. So anyways, that was round 1. I'll do another video for round 2 and round 3.